us having a real estate discussion show because I think that's really, really cool. So first, I want to say welcome everybody. Thank you for joining Tech Talk. So today we're supposed to have Sagar do a presentation on Google Workspace. Now, I know he's very, very excited about it, but our email communication got a little back and forth there. We missed something, so we're not doing that today. But I'm looking forward to it. So thank you very much. So definitely come back for that. My apologies. I should have been on it more. We spoke about it and I sent an email, but my email didn't get through to him. So then I sent a frantic text last night. But anyway, but listen, so today I want to talk about a couple things. So, and this is kind of last minute, so I threw this together this morning. So forgive as we go through it. But I want to ask you a question. How many of you consider yourselves an early adopter? When stuff comes out, new technology comes out, you go to the store, Best Buy, whatever, and you get, or at least you're an early adopter in your mind. Like, Michael likes to bug me about the fact that I don't have an electric car, but I talk about them all the time. He's like, "Where's your electric car, Ivan? Come on, you're like an evangelist for electric cars, right?" So, how many are you? Now, okay, so how many of you like to wait and see that if Hamilton ever gets flooded, that your car's not going to blow up? You're just going to wait and see what happens to other people first. Are you okay? Okay. All right. Well, that's really, really interesting. So how much time do you interact with technology every day? And I'm talking about actively interact, right? Punching stuff in. Sagar, you're probably like
my work is on the laptop, so right. I'm always on the laptop.
Okay, so you're on there all day long. How about you, Cass?
I'm not actually on that often. I do work from a laptop and I watch media on my phone and stuff, but I'd say I'm a big crocheter. I go out and have appointments and do things.
Go out,
so
okay.
Yeah. So I'm not all day long.
That's probably, but you're constantly watching your watch. The other day, I didn't realize that the new watch I bought, which I got for cheap, that it actually rang, and I couldn't find my phone. It's like ringing. I noticed I can. Hello. I just felt like, man, I'm back in with Get Smart, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Hi, Chief. So no, he had the shoe. But anyway, the point is that you're constantly interacting with stuff. You're checking your heart rate. You're checking your phone. Like, how often do you do this action every day? Looking at your phone to see what time it is, or if somebody sent you a message. Go ahead, Paul.
That was Dick Tracy that had the
Dick
watch.
Tracy. Surprised that Michael Palmy didn't say it. But anyway, so
I would probably I use it for a full time now, and I don't like doing it because you have to push a couple things because it always locks on me. But then I'm thinking, if I was going to get a watch again, I'd be getting one of those watches that connect to my phone. So I don't know if it's any.
Yeah. But the cool thing about the watch, though, which I found was cool, was that I didn't have to have my car. I was able to just talk to the person, and I'm sure if I had, the earbuds in, then I would have been able to, hey, whatever. And people think, is that guy like Secret Service? I'm like, hang on a second, I've got, But anyway, but think about it. Think about 5 years ago. Go ahead, Cass.
I was just gonna say I didn't even think of it till you said earbuds. I wear really impressive hearing aids. If I'm awake, they're in, and they connect to my phone. They connect to my laptop. I can do all kinds of things with them. So yeah, I guess I'm on technology all day, every day, according to that.
Yeah,
I'm probably on tech all day also, whether it's my laptop at work. I do have one of these watches, but the first thing I did as soon as I got it is I turned off any function other than I need the time and I need to count my steps. I don't need to walk around and go, "Hi, Bob, how are you?" Blah, blah, blah. Like,
You don't
sorry,
need your reminders coming up on your phone.
my TV is IPTV, so that's internet connected. So my TV's on in the evening. I'm probably on technology 12 to 14 hours a day. Like, I don't care if I have the newest phone. They're all good now. Like,
You
it's
hear
not
Apple?
it's not 1995 where, oh my God, look at we just got Windows,
You hear
right?
Apple's sales of their latest phone? I don't know what number they're on.
I think it's
15, I think it is.
15 or 16.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's up
It
there.
was down quite a bit because apparently their AI stuff isn't going to kick in till next month. What? Talk about a money grab, right? Why
Yeah.
would you have this big launch of a phone a month before? Because they want you to get the 15 and the 16 next
Yeah.
year.
They do the same day every year. That's what it is. Like
Yeah,
September.
so
Oh,
Yeah.
big
So,
launch, yeah.
like, but a new iPhone every year, that's too much, right? Like, that's what I feel about it. How much technology can they build in an year into a
They
new,
sell it
like, for it
though.
to be new? They sell it.
Well,
They sell it,
here's the
yeah, for
silly thing
sure.
is when the Samsung brought out their 24 phone, which is their current one, they said we got AI on it. Well, about a week later, my 23, I got all these things. We're upgrading your phone so it does AI. So why do I need to buy the new phone anyways? Why would I need the new phone if you're going to put it on
well,
the old phone?
I'll give Samsung that the 24, the pictures are
Yes.
phenomenal.
I
Like,
have seen someone take pictures of the sky at night that has the top, like the one that's actually, it used to be called the Note,
yeah,
and the stars that show up on the picture,
Really?
yeah.
unbelievable. You nailed it,
Okay.
Catherine.
So so
Their
so
their
you,
camera is like out
you're
of
going
this
down the
world.
road I want to go down. Okay. So think about this. Think about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the technology that we had. I think back then it was the Samsung 17 or whatever, A or whatever.
It went
And
from
because
10
I
to
think we're
20.
now up to 25, right? So and having a camera on the phone, it was like, okay, I'm going to take pictures of whatever, but it wasn't replacing your DSLR, right? Like you still took your DSLR everywhere you went if you wanted to capture a good picture. But today, today I'm really blown away. Like, think about how technology is changing the way that we do things. Yeah, and it's becoming closer to you. Like before, I'd have to take my camera and my lenses and go out and shoot pictures. And now it's now just in this little thing here, right? My GPS, I used to drive courier when I was in college, right? And I remember the first time I had to go down to Deloitte and Touche or whatever it was down in First Canadian Place downtown Toronto, and I didn't even know where that was. I remember pulling over and then putting my flashes on and running up to a phone booth and looking it up and calling them, and I was just like, who uses? When was the last time you used a phone booth?
There aren't any.
It's hard to
They're
find a
very
phone
few.
booth, and every time I see one, there are people in front of it take pictures of it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
So last Thursday, I went to the Leafs game in Toronto, and decisions. So am I going to take the train in? I'm going to drive in, and I decide I'm going to drive in because I don't want to wait for a train after the game. But then you got to find a place to park. It's like, where are the parking spots? How much is that going to cost me? And I went to the Scotiabank website, or Scotia Arena website, and they had this thing, parking at Scotiabank, and I'm like, okay, so I'll go in there, and they have an app. This thing's called Spot Hero.
Wow.
Shows up all the garages, shows up how much they cost. Apparently, these garages have agreements with the Scotiabank Arena, so some of the parking's discounted. I walked, I guess it was 4 blocks from the arena. It was $20. I do it on my phone. I drive it with my phone. They got a special reader there for that app. I throw the QR code under the thing. The gate goes open. I go in. I pick my spot. At the end of the game, I come out. I throw my phone under the thing again, gate goes up, and I'm done. And I'm like, okay, that's neat technology, right?
Does this frustrate anybody?
I was just gonna say you didn't want to wait for the train, but instead you would drive out in that traffic at the end of a game. Isn't that insane to get like?
I was home from the
Oh
game
wow. Okay.
in 55 minutes. Had I taken the train, it probably would have been at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. So no, I was not frustrated.
Okay, so
I'm frustrated when cities don't have apps for parking. So I was teaching in St. Catharines last 2 weeks in a row, like, right? And they don't have apps and they only let you park in their downtown for 3.5 hours. What do they care if I'm going to spend the whole
more money. Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
and the only way you can get around it is to wait like 15 minutes and then pay again. I'm working an 8-hour day. I ended up getting 2 flipping parking tickets as well,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Because even they have it online, but they'll only let you park for 3 hours.
I didn't know that.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, so so I want you to think, because we're going to go through a few things that are emerging technologies that I think are cool, but our world is becoming more digital. And and so what I'm finding is that some people love it and they adopt it and it's awesome. And some people look at it as, the reason for a conspiracy theory, right? So I'll give you an example, right? Ever heard of 15-minute cities or 15-minute whatever it is, where they're saying, oh, they're building communities now where if you go out of your community, then you're gonna get pulled over. The cops want to know why you're there and all this stuff, because somebody came up with the idea of, and Calgary's like this, where I lived in a place called Tuscany, and in Tuscany was everything you needed. You had your Starbucks, you had your grocery store, you had everything in that area, schools, and they built it in that, so if you go to Arbor Lake or Silver Springs or West Hills or whatever, they have everything in their area. So you really don't need to leave and go out of that area if you run a business from your home, unless you're going to meet friends for a drink. But they've got bars and restaurants and stuff like that in that community. But people are saying, oh, you see, this is how they're trying to control you and make So conspiracy theories are things that people come up with because they just can't keep up. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not knocking anybody who's got conspiracy theories, okay? I still don't think anybody landed on the moon. So I get it. But the thing is, the future, I think we're going away from people owning even cars. I don't think we're going to own cars, right? I think that the way that things are moving, we're going to get to the ridiculous, Catherine, where the 401 is going to be 25 lanes in each direction. And you're going to say, okay, enough, right? Let's because everybody's got their car and they drive it to work, and then that car sits empty all day long. And then you get in your car by yourself with your bag of chips and you drive home. It doesn't make sense. I think for individuals to own vehicles, I think it's kind of silly. And I never thought this until this morning when I started researching this. I was just thinking, at what point does it become ridiculous?
Well, think about the way that we used to have cable and you had your channels, and then they started packaging them all out and it got expensive, and then we got to Netflix, and now there's like you have to have all of them. So when it starts becoming a fee for all these different services, a fee for your car, a fee for the tools that you rent, a fee for the all those things, then it's ridiculous. We used to have cooperative tool, I forget what they're called, but like a repository where you could go go borrow any of the tools and you didn't have to pay for it. And those have closed down. So now we have to pay for everything. And what this sharing of stuff does is it makes it available to only those who can afford it, and everybody else is SOL.
You know what, I see your hand. And to your point though, Cass, I remember the idea in the 90s that everything should be a utility, right? So before, you'd go and you'd buy your software and then you own it. If you didn't want to upgrade, you just didn't upgrade. You had your software, you had the installation CD, and that was it, right? as soon as they turn it into a utility, then they get that money every month from you, right?
Mhm.
And that well, and you get updates over the air, they call it, right? But you're paying, and you only have so much money that you get, right? So you're paying every single month, and they're making a fortune, right? As opposed to, because I don't want to upgrade, I don't want to. I own the software. I'm going to keep it for 5, 10 years. Remember Windows 93? I kept Windows 93 until 2006, right?
My
So
my Mac is a 2013, right? Like I don't need to upgrade it. It works just fine.
yeah, I get you for sure. Go ahead, Tiger. Of course, when you're drinking.
I was talking about, I mean, I was thinking about the cars. You said like it's ridiculous to own a car only like, so I had this idea of, let's say in downtown Toronto, we have bicycles for rent whenever we need. And I feel car is for convenience. It's not for anything else. If we don't have a car and if you want to go somewhere else quickly, it's not possible with anything else, right? I mean, you
Right,
can
yeah.
book a cab. So yeah, I feel like car sharing. That means if a car's sitting on my parking lot, I can share my car with my neighbor so that he don't have to, buy a car, and I can share with his car. So I feel car sharing would be a solution for for that problem. Even better if car manufacturers can help us do that rather than just everyone buying cars. Like that reduces pollution, more cars on the road, traffic. I see lots of traffic because of this. So yeah, just that thought.
For sure, for sure, for sure. And imagine that there were no cars. Like there's no car ownership. You're just sharing cars. Then homes would be designed differently, right? Because you wouldn't need a garage. You wouldn't need really a driveway. So now you can just have where there's a central place where cars are parked in your community. And you just basically get up in the morning, you go out there, you pick up a car, you go, and you just, hey, Bob, are you heading into town? You want to come? Let's go, right? And the mentality might be a little bit different. Somebody had their hand up there. Okay, I see Heather's. Oh yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Well, the reason why these software companies changed from handing you a CD when you purchase it to making you download it is to combat the pirate side of the software, right? Because you look back in the night, you could find a copy of Windows all over the place,
Yep.
and all you had to do is find one of those key codes, put it in.
Yep.
You got your computer up and running,
Paul. Okay,
and the
to
computer
that point.
company couldn't do a thing to combat it.
Okay, so
So
to
now,
your
so this is the way they're doing it.
okay, so
Plus,
to your point.
plus on top of that, okay, there's thousands and thousands of people who are making operating systems and free operating system, free softwares. So
Still, yeah, for sure. But so I think the music industry, remember Napster? Napster came along, people were downloading music, whatever. How they managed to have so skillfully and beautifully transitioned people to wanting to pay, for what's that app? This is Spotify, right? So so basically, we have no problem paying Spotify. We've got the family plan here. We pay it every month, and it's just nice. I think that that's brilliant. But again, I don't have a record collection, right? If I want to listen to music and I don't want to pay, then I got to listen to some ads, right? And I don't want to listen to ads when I'm in a romantic mood and I want to play some People Bryson. You know what I mean? So I find it quite fascinating. Okay, so let's move on. So the first thing I really want to chat about is Highway 407 buyback. Who heard about this?
Oh,
Okay, what do you?
guys, they're all shoot him.
Do it.
What happened?
Do
Anyway,
it.
Don't be
Do it.
subsidizing it. I've been paying for it. It's a luxury that I'm willing to pay for my time. You start giving truckers subsidies, and I'll shoot all their tires out.
yeah, okay, but the thing is, what they're saying is Ontario. It's I mean, it's owned by a number of different companies, but one of them is a Spanish company, and and they charge ridiculous prices. Like I know that in peak time when I'm going from here to Markham, it cost me about $50, right? $50 for a toll, right? I took the Florida Turnpike and it cost me $9.40, and that was right. To pay $50 for a one-way trip on a toll highway to me is absolutely buggery, especially when we paid for it.
Well, no, we don't pay for it anymore.
No, we did pay for it though. To build it out, we paid for it.
Yep.
right?
But
So
they should buy it back.
should buy
It's the
back.
right,
Mhm.
and that's what he's talking about actually doing. He
Yeah.
could probably buy that thing back for $8 billion one time and
Yeah.
just open it up and get rid of a lot of gridlock.
I think they
It should
should.
have it should have never been sold in the first place. But and the smart thing they have done is the new sections that have been built
There's, yeah.
are still owned by the province.
Excellent.
And so, and some of those sections being the 412 and the 418, he's actually removed the tolls from those in the last year. So those are no longer tolled.
When they got rid of our license
Excellent.
plate thingies, yeah.
Yep. So
people are like,
buy it back, get rid of the gridlock. Just do it.
So, Catherine?
when, before he did the, cut the tolls, the Ontario government's, like, the 4-1 things, they were half.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they were less than the corporation. Yes, they were. Absolutely.
I have a couple clients in the Peterborough and area, and they're big clients. So I'm talking 40, 50 people being trained. I go. And yeah, I pay over $100.
Insane. Anyway,
Oh, like return. I'm close to 140 or $50. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. It
Yeah,
is
that's crazy.
insane because you can go, you
Well-
drive to Buffalo and you go from Buffalo to the Pennsylvania state line.
Yeah.
Costs you, it's about 70 miles. So let's say 110K. And it costs you around $3 US.
Yeah.
And they're now electronic tolling too. The toll booths are gone now. And then you go on this little highway that takes you 80K and you pay $70 one way.
Crazy.
Volume, right?
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
you're right.
ridiculous. You know, so 80K
making money
costs you
on that highway.
$70, but 110K costs you $3.
Yeah.
There's a problem there with
Yeah.
efficiency and
It's
excessive
time.
profits.
It's time. If I had to go to Peterborough on the 401, 135, 115 or whatever
Yep,
that,
115.35. Yep.
I would not take the chance. I would sleep up there
Right.
for my
Yeah.
like the morning of, so I could get. Now, I know I can get there in the 3 hours that it says.
And
But-
Catherine.
If I was taking the 401
Yeah, exactly.
way,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Catherine. Imagine that after you're finished working all day, right? You're going to drive back to Toronto on the 401.
oh,
I can't think of any area of the 401 that's any like getting to Kennedy Road and the 404, horrible. The DVP, horrible area. And then it's
The 400 series parking lot, you mean?
oh,
right?
yeah, just and all getting into the 427, terrible area, going by Carling View, and it's just horrible, right?
then I got to get to the 403.
Cringe.
Where I can't get on the 403.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
just terrible,
When I
terrible.
came back from Peterborough on the 40, it was the last week of August, so just before school started. I did not see red until it was the on-ramp onto the 403.
Sorry. Okay, so but take heart.
Other
I want you-
technology going there on those 400 series. The other thing that was announced yesterday is that all the 400 series highways where it's safe to do so are now going to be 110.
I saw that. I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so we've heard that Toronto traffic is terrible, right? Like, I mean, we're getting prizes and awards for that, right? For how terrible they are. But we're not the worst. Do you know the worst city in the world for traffic?
LA or New York.
No, we
London.
beat
India.
we beat LA. LA's usually second to Toronto on North America.
Yeah, so London, England is number one.
They have a
Dublin,
toll, don't they? If you go into a certain section of downtown,
Yeah.
you have to pay a toll.
yeah, I think, yeah, probably.
What's the first?
London.
Yeah, first is London, second is
Oh, okay.
Dublin, third is Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then and then everywhere else is overseas, all the way down to wow, like the next one in North America is New York at number 20.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're at 3, New York is 20.
Well, can I tell you, I drove in Hamilton yesterday, like downtown. So I live at Stone Church and Garth, and my client is in the government building at 119 King West. I leave around quarter after, gets me in there around 8:30, 8:35, upstairs. Yeah, I had to call my client and say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be stuck. She goes, oh, are you downstairs? No, I'm still in the mountain. I hadn't even gotten past Fennel
Mhm.
in 30 or 20, that was 20 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Right down Garth, right? Slip over to Bay, and then I go right in at the convention center. It should have 45 minutes.
Yeah, up and down the mountain is crazy. I live downtown and I'm at like Ferguson and Maine, and my
Oh.
mom is at like Lock and King. And in the middle of the day when it's construction season, it can take you 45 minutes just to get that far. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes 35 minutes now to get to downtown Hamilton from Dundas.
Yeah.
What they've done to Main Street is just,
Well,
there's no curb lanes anymore. They've blocked those off, so you can't use the curb lane as a through lane.
That's right.
They've put in a bike lane, and then there's this building that's being built near where the old Wimpy's used to be, and you're literally down
there's-
to 2 lanes,
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
all
the lane.
potholed.
Oh,
And
it's
it like the
awful.
road is like falling apart, and they're spending money on all these traffic calming stuff, and our roads are garbage. Like, if I had a business in downtown Hamilton, these businesses are going to go bankrupt because nobody wants to drive down there.
Cost me 80
And
bucks to get a nail out of my tire and
yeah,
patched.
you were saying that. Wow.
Bugs. Yeah.
It's,
So okay.
it's
so,
insane. It's insane.
So yeah, it's so traffic is terrible. By the way, about the whole parking lot thing, I saw that I think Tesla has it where when you're in a number of the Chinese vehicles have it too, where when you pull into a parking lot, it will tell you where there is a parking lot that's free. Like it can see where there's an empty park. Your car doesn't have that yet, does it, Catherine?
No,
Okay, all
but I
right.
was just gonna say Burlington's been doing that for years.
No, but your own car will tell you.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but when you go into Burlington, it will tell you how many lots are open in what lot, or how many spaces, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
available in which one. And then when you go in, it tells you which spots are
It is.
open.
Right. I think I saw that at the airport as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All
I
right.
never
So
had that issue. I rode a mountain bike. I could park anywhere I wanted.
that's right. That's right.
As long as I got a
Absolutely.
pole to lock it to.
That's right. Got a lock and a pole. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so listen, the next I'm going to show a video here. I want you to think about this. You are a business person and you want to create your own your own video, right? Sometimes you want to create a video and you just want to have a talk over, like the video will come up with you talking, and then you want to cut to something nice and capture something on video to put as a cutaway with your voiceover. Just look at this sexy little beastie here and let me know what your thoughts are. You get the dinner light, right? So what do you think of that?
What exactly is it they're showing us? I
So
mean,
it's showing you.
it's a drone that takes video. We've had that for a long time.
I think I don't know if the other ones have the headset that you could see. Anyway, I just thought this was very cool. How many of you would think about buying one of these things for your own business?
Well, for
Gas is
one
going
thing,
down.
one thing, many cities have banned flying drones
Oh, okay.
unless you're in a designated legal area in which to fly the drone.
And you need to have
When
a
they first
pilot's
came out,
license in
you
Ontario,
could
in
fly them
Canada.
anywhere. But then the idiots got out there. They start flying drones near apartment buildings, near airports, and
Okay,
the
so
city
I
said,
know that.
nope. So anybody who's like riding down the main street and has a drone behind them is going to get a ticket.
So what you're saying is it was a bad look with this guy in his bedroom, and he sends the drone out to, I don't know, scoop his neighbors, right? Like I get it. There's privacy issues, and I think in the news recently we heard that someone was actually doing that, where they're using their drone to spy on their neighbors.
It's not only a privacy issue, it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have this thing flying behind you, you're racing down the street. Is it going to collide with a car, break the window, cause an accident?
Mm-hmm.
Fines for corporations up to 5,000 for flying without a drone
I love
pilot
it.
certificate, 5,000 for flying an unregistered, unmarked drones, 15,000 for putting aircraft and people at risk. Yeah, you can't
That's a
fly
lot
them
of
without.
money. Okay, Heather, go ahead. See you shaking your head, going.
Oh, no, nothing.
So also illegal to fly in a national park.
Overregulated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about on farms? Because I'm not, like, see, my daughter has
Private
32
property.
acres.
Private
And if you
property.
No,
want to have
it's-
a drone
it's-
flying around her, like, you know,
If you have no neighbors, nothing, you're out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
yeah.
So over the water, you're probably fine if there's
If you are in a national park, you are not allowed to fly a drone, period.
why.
It's privacy. It's privacy.
All right.
These people there are enjoying themselves, and like where I go, they're on docks, and there's people laying out sunning themselves. There's people doing whatever activities. No, you are not allowed to fly them within a national park. And in the case of the Western parks, you
Well,
could
there's
be
this
disturbing
thing-
wildlife that's
Okay,
and
that one I'll
causing a
buy.
problem there too. Also,
If you're sunbathing and don't want to see, then don't be doing it on a dock.
Yeah,
Like-
because if you're out in public, you have no right to privacy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So
When you say you're out in the country for a drone, remember that the airport has really wide
Yeah,
I
fair.
forget
area.
what it's called.
And I get for airport safety and all that, and hurting somebody. But if you're very isolated, like the water there, or the pictures like that, there should be no reason that if I'm offshore enough and there's no boats out like this, like today, there's probably no boats out, or very few up on Georgian, that I couldn't do a couple runs up and down the coastline
because real estate agents do use drones in which to photograph the home from an aerial view.
That's private property, right?
they also
Well,
have to be licensed.
You have a commercial license in which to photograph the property.
Right.
Oh.
So you have a purpose of sending the drone up whatever feet in the air. They take a picture of it and it comes right back down.
That's right.
My church has a guy who flies the drone during outdoor sessions. So it's on private property. We're not bothering the neighbors. It's for an event that you can do on your own property. So
But
I don't
here's
know
the thing,
how-
though.
I don't know how the park is saying you can't fly it there. I don't know what, I would have to check the law to see
So
what they're
here's
saying.
the thing: if you buy a drone, because I believe that drones are still on sale at Best Buy, right?
They are.
So being able to get that permit or that license or whatever else has to be something that's attainable for you and me. But I'm just thinking about for me, because I do create content. I don't create that type of content yet, but I think about it. Maybe if I had a drone, I would, but I don't know if I would, though, because I bought a GoPro for the very same thing and I've never used it. So anyway, but the point is, if I wanted to, right, then I could use that drone and create content for myself. Does that not appeal to you a little bit? Teensy?
I don't know, drone shot of a life insurance policy. I don't know.
No, for the freedom of sleep better at night, with the drone flying across the water and whatever.
Sure, but there's footage of all of that online that you can grab.
That's true.
somewhere. And I mean, I pay for Canva and they have all kinds of
I know.
videos and
Pencils had it for
clips
free.
and
Yeah.
And so there's restrictions on how high drones can fly. The other issue in open spaces, like on a lake with a drone, is there are aircraft that sometimes land on lakes or take off from lakes. And if a drone happened to be out there while an aircraft was landing, these are aircraft with skis on them, water skis, or taking off, and there was a collision.
But the drone would be dead, right? The plane would be
The
fine.
drone would be dead, and maybe the propeller would be also damaged on that.
Oh, please. People have had radio control boats, and they're not illegal on the lake in case
They don't fly in the air.
All right, yeah, I have to say something. There's all sorts of controls that are built into the drone. So you are not allowed to get within certain feet. It will return back to base automatically if you go into a space that's regulated by air. My husband does drones all the time. We've gotten caught where we're not allowed by our neighbors who were showing just kids that we were not spying at all, but that's okay. We've been at national park or not national parks, but like literally, we were traveling out in east and we were taking some footage of all the flooding and the hurricane damage and stuff like this. And we're doing it for our own interest. And there were signs everywhere. Do not, and as soon as you try to go up, it will return. It will not even allow you.
Really?
So
That's awesome.
there are almost AI things in it that now tell you cannot do this, so that there's no way that a car is going to get hit as you're driving down the street with a drone. There's no way you can run into a boat. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, it's a little bit ridiculous, guys.
Yeah.
But I understand the safety issue. I understand, yes, there's radio frequencies. Yes. For the most part, the whole idea of them not wanting to be in airspace is basically they don't need anything additional to stupid birds to be hitting planes to,
That's
drones.
So, okay. So let me just say something here. I just want to throw this thought out there. Imagine if Gerald Ford was around today and the car was invented today. People would be going, no way, that thing's gonna be whipping down the road. Kids will get hit by cars. There'd be blood everywhere. Animals would be destroyed, all kinds of things, right?
Henry Ford. You didn't mean Gerald Ford. You
No,
didn't
not Gerald Ford. Henry Ford. Gerald Ford. If he was alive today, he'd probably run for president. But anyway.
Well, just when you say that, Ivan, the funny thing is, and I've read this somewhere over the years, but there was a time there was only 2 cars in the United States. And those 2 cars, ironically, were involved in a head-on collision. Like they just had the whole country to themselves, yet they still got in a head-on collision. I find it it's just hilarious, really.
Go ahead, Maggie.
I just read something the other day. We've talked a lot about electric cars.
Yes.
And I just read, I think it was just yesterday. Do you know that there have actually been electric cars around for a couple hundred years? And it was actually a movement at one time and then it failed for some reason. There's this guy.
Oil lobby won.
A guy called Gerald Ford. That's why it failed.
That's right.
No, there's a Facebook page called Historic Niagara. This guy, David, he does all these different posts all the time. And he put a thing on about the car. And apparently, one of the first ladies had one.
Yeah.
I think.
I wouldn't doubt it. That's like disc brakes and stuff like that we think is just in the last, 40, 50 years. They had them on, like Oldsmobile was quite a forward-thinking car company.
Mhm.
But V8, all that kind of stuff, but they just got quashed or somebody bought them out.
They started trying electric cars around, I believe it was the early 1800s, and then there was another mini boom, I think in Europe. Can't remember now if it was in the 30s or in the 40s after the war, but they just never, for the same reasons as today, the infrastructure just sort of wasn't there for them and they never caught on.
But think about this though. Today, we're talking about drones, and by the way, drones have been around for a while too, right? But now, consumer drones are out there and people are using them, and we're using them really for being able to capture things that we were never able to see before, like things that drones bring to us. It just introduce a whole different, first person experience when you're looking at things. But you're still going to get people who are going to say, oh yeah, but you got to look out for this, you got to look out for that, you got to make sure this isn't happening, you got to look out for the animals, the birds, the trees, and all kinds of things. Can you imagine if someone said, let's create an airplane? Well, what about the birds taking? We can't have an airplane anymore. You can't have a car. So we're going to have what we're going to have. I just think about, how do you use it as a tool for your business, and is it something that would be beneficial for you?
Oh, mine to show all the different angles that, like in a video.
Oh yeah.
CPR, for form kind of thing. That'd be great. I know you can go around and take the pictures, but to have the video, right? It would be neat.
Yeah, stage an accident, and as the accident's happening between a guy on a bike and a guy on a skateboard, you have the drone zoom. Like, there's so many things you can do. It's something that will take things from your brain and make it real.
See, the only thing I'm going, I just can't afford what he said.
Yeah, right. Right. Go ahead, Michael.
Against drones, I think they're great technology. I just think, there's restrictions in place, because what happened is, when they first got really popular there, everybody and their uncle was flying one, and it got a little silly out there. So guess what happens when things get silly? They put regulations in place, right?
Yeah.
And can regulations sometimes end up going too far? Absolutely, because you know what, Big Brother, they want to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. And so they'll put regulations in place that, you just sit there and you go, really? Like, you're going to try protect us from that? But yeah, I mean, scenes, waterfalls where you want to fly a drone around and capture a special scene. Even I know people who have put them up when they're snowmobiling and they're going across the lake or whatever. They want a shot of themselves going across the lake, seeing wildlife, whatever, getting close to it, without getting that shot that you wouldn't normally see. Yeah, there's countless good uses for them. I'm not against them. I just think
could you imagine
they have to be responsible. Go ahead, Catherine.
I was just gonna say, could you imagine if the city, because we tout ourselves as the city of waterfalls, went and did drone and flew in behind the waterfalls and or through it? Oh, that would be so cool. I don't know if it could handle that pressure, but
but I get you. Like, promote the city, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So okay. Well, listen. So the other thing I'm looking at is how. Okay. Think about the coolest, most well thought out city that you can think of, right? Like anywhere in the world.
Like
what
Dubai?
Like Dubai looks like very, very well planned out, very sexy city. Where else?
Sun City, Arizona.
Arizona. There's Singapore. There's all kinds of really cool places that are doing cool technology things. And I remember when we went down to Kima in Texas. It's this area that kind of looked like you're in Disney World, but people live there, and but it had all the places that you can go and watch the stingrays and things like that. Very touristy place. And I just thought, and Google's putting together their smart cities or smart communities where everything's connected, and they try to do that here. And what happened? What happened to?
I don't know.
They people complained. They thought that Google was going to be spying on them. Of course they're going to be spying on them. But I mean, you get your phone. You're being spied on. But anyway, they shut it down. So Google said, "Listen, we're out of here," and they went somewhere else. But think about what the future could be if everybody trusted technology. Right, in those smart cities.
I think they wrote a book about it called 1984.
That was a good book. It's actually a lot of it's coming true, but yes, I get you.
Yeah. It's always got to have a bit of skepticism in it, right? But, or like knowledge based.
Yes. Well, I'm going to share just a really quick one, a quick video here. Let me just go ahead and do this again.
Practically synonymous with technological advancement. And trust me, Singapore isn't just dipping its toes into the smart city pool, it's doing a full cannonball. One of the things that makes Singapore so impressive is its Smart Nation initiative. We're talking a comprehensive government-led strategy that's all about integrating technology into every aspect of urban life. Think smart sensors collecting data to optimize everything from traffic flow to water usage. They even have smart trash cans that monitor fill levels and optimize waste collection routes. Singapore's e-payment systems are so seamless that you can practically leave your wallet at home. From hawker centers to high-end boutiques, digital payments are the norm, making transactions a breeze. Overall, Singapore is like a living lab for smart city technology, constantly pushing the boundaries and setting a global benchmark for what a truly connected urban environment can be.
Right. So that's Singapore, right? Imagine for those of us who live here in Hamilton, and of course Guelph, or Brantford. Think about if you could plan it better. Like where the bottlenecks are. Where you want to have access to connectivity and stuff like that. Where crowds get together, maybe for festivals, etc. What you would do differently to make it the most seamless thing, so there isn't that congestion when you're leaving the event, so you can get back home in a safe, and timely manner. Think about it. What would you do differently in your town? Like, what would you encourage the leaders to do in your town to make it more efficient? Certainly, Michael, not block off the right lane so that it's not actually a through lane. I remember the good old days, Catherine, when they would have it posted that from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock you can't park. That way people could use that lane to drive to get people out of the city. But when you think that James Street here is one lane, how does that work? Anyway, go ahead, Michael.
So it's called Back to the Future. Get rid of all the two-way streets downtown, put our one-way streets back in. Let those curb lanes go again, and guess what? Traffic's gonna move again. We just gotta fire all our city councilors, all of them, get rid of them all, because they're doing a fantastic job of killing the commerce in our downtown core. There's no rocket science. There's no technology that you need. You just, I always want to go to Doug Ford, and I've been wanting to do this for years. And I want to take Doug Ford out to, and he wasn't the one who designed this. I want to take him out to the junction of the QEW and the 403 at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then again at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And if somebody came along with a paint can, that right lane that comes off the QEW onto the 403, if that lane didn't end and all the other lanes didn't end, all the traffic would be able to go through without bottlenecking. And then what you would do is that 407 that sits almost empty, that's a merge lane into the highway.
On the left side.
On the left side, right? And guess what? All the traffic would flow. This isn't like rocket science. I'm not an engineer, but here's a rule of engineering for a highway. And a true engineer will tell you this. The right lane on the highway never ends. You should be able to get in the right lane of the 401 in Windsor and drive all the way to the Quebec border and never get out of the right lane, because that's a properly engineered road. The left lane always ends.
Okay, I want you to think about this. Okay, before Heather speaks, I want you to think about cities like Denver, Calgary, that have streets that are no cars, where you take James Street and you turn that into a 0-car road from King Street all the way down to the lake, right? You know, I would make that, you know, no cars. I think that the restaurants and the stores along those streets in Denver and in Calgary, Stephen Avenue, Calgary, they do great. They're constantly
I
busy.
think that's a great idea as long as there's an alternate road for that through traffic. As long as there's an alternate road, like you could do that on King Street downtown because we have Cannon instead.
That's right. Yes,
there's an alternate. If Cannon was opened up all the way to the 4 lanes it used to have, you could say there's no, and they've done it limited. When you get to what is it, Wellington? When you get to Wellington, it says no trucks downtown, right? No trucks.
Because she's been waiting patiently. Heather, tell me.
Oh, mine's sort of along the same line. I actually wrote a couple of little things down here. So like, I mean, if anybody's been in any downtown core, I mean, I was born in Hamilton, so I know Hamilton well, but you know, even in any city, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I look back, I saw a picture of the city of Guelph downtown in like 1790, and it was a big open space with a roundabout, for Pete's sake.
Wow.
Okay, you know, and then we progressed and we created streetcars. So then we had a streetcar go right straight through, and they took out the roundabout, you know, and then they created streets, and then the cars came, and then there's been no more horse and buggies, you know, that's why they had the roundabout. It was easy for a horse and buggy to go around a roundabout. Well, now we have cars. So do we put the car roundabout back in? I don't know. I personally, we took one of our streets and we made it as a walk, as you said, no cars. I think, you know, a couple of things that are going to happen. You know, there's, and if you want to talk about the highway, make it consistent. Why are some lanes exit left, some are exit right? You know what? That's what confuses people. That's why people get in the wrong lanes. That's why people cut people off, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to say was that you want to encourage people to not have to drive and be able to not have to deal with the congestion and stuff like that. Honestly, no matter what, you will always have congestion because of the number of people that are there. You don't want that kind of congestion, put it virtual. Talk about Back to the Future. We're going to be, or talk about Jetsons, you know, that everything was brought to you. You scheduled everything, you know, TV on demand. Come on, people, like, wait, who sits there and subscribes to anything anymore? You know, like, honestly, I think the whole technology is, we have the ability to have concerts, and there's been lots of concerts that have been promoted on TV that don't even, and movies that don't even make it to the theaters anymore. Yeah. That's the future.
It's crazy.
You're not even going to have to worry about congestion because there's going to be no such thing unless you go to a stupid football game or something, hockey game. They can keep
better shots on TV. You can watch it and see where the puck.
You can watch it, and honestly, the shots that you see on TV are probably better than
You can pause it and go and pee. Anyway, go ahead, Maggie.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Oh, is it that time?
Yeah.
That time. Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right, Maggie, you got the final word.
Okay, I was just gonna say about the whole walkable city streets. That is good as long as, like, for restaurants and things, as long as there's back doors and parking on the outer areas. Because if you've got someone who maybe doesn't walk all that well or whatever, they don't necessarily want to walk too far to get onto these streets. So
you know what I really love?
That's something you got to kind of look at.
Who's been into Canmore? We were just there over the summer, and every summer the main strip of Canmore is blocked off to vehicles. And you know what? Yeah, we get in there, we park. Now my mom, who happens to be older, when we're driving in to turn, you know, so that we can park, I just drop her off on the side, and she gets out with my brother, whatever it is, and then we go and we park wherever. But I think that we can solve it because we have parking garages, we have places that people can go and park, and then just walk, you know, a block or whatever it is, like it is in Calgary. But I do agree that I feel like I spend more time on those streets, Stephen Avenue. I spend more time there because I know that my car is parked somewhere else. I'm not worried about it. I'm on a place where there's no traffic. I find that traffic movement makes me feel a little bit of anxiety, like, okay, where do I have to be after this, right? But if I'm at Williams, where I don't see traffic, or somewhere else, I just don't think about the time. Time passes. So think about urban planning in the future and how you can, and hopefully we'll be around to see our cities, see Hamilton evolve into a place where people really want to walk around downtown and spend time, and where everything is much more efficient. But listen, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good conversation for a last minute conversation. It was great. Thank you. I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care, guys.
You guys.